Hello and welcome to this presentation called See and Eat Vegetables, Support for Early Years. My name is Roy Ballum and I work for the British Nutrition Foundation. Thanks for joining me today. So why the focus on vegetables in the early years? Well, really, as we all know, vegetables and different types of vegetables particularly are really important for health. And these eating habits develop at a very early age and these track into later life. So therefore, we understand that the preschool years are a really important time for children to really explore and really experience the wide variety of vegetables that we can eat. And as we know, vegetables contain vitamins, minerals, and fiber, and they do different jobs in the body. And we also know that different types of vegetables provide different types of vitamins and minerals and different amounts of fiber. And therefore, we're encouraged to eat a variety of different vegetables every day. But we all know sometimes it's difficult to get children to eat their veg. And obviously, we need to try and encourage this as best as we can. And some vegetables might be less sweet than fruit, for example, and others might have a naturally bitter taste. So therefore, it can be a bit of an issue to try and get the young children to try and eat these types of vegetables. But we do know that the preschool years are an important time for children to explore and experience this wide range of different types of vegetables. And sometimes just offering them at meal times and running activities may just not be enough. And we also know that studies have shown that the best way to get kids to try more vegetables is to keep offering them over and over again, sometimes 10 times or more. But we need to keep on trying to repeat this to show how we're buying and providing vegetables in a way that's consistent. So how can we encourage this greater uptake of vegetables for early years? Well, one of the ways is that we've been working with the See and Eat project, which is a really kind of exciting way to try and encourage children to eat their vegetables. And it's based at a project run by the University of Reading, and it's designed really to help parents and carers who are having a hard time with kids rejecting eating different types of veg. And what their research has shown that even by looking at simple picture books showing where vegetables come from, how they're grown, sold, prepared, and how they look when they're ready to eat, actually can encourage preschool children to learn to like vegetables or perhaps try them if they haven't previously done so, or if they said they didn't like them before. And what they're suggesting is actually there's some psychology behind this, and actually seeing the images of the food just makes them more familiar and reduces that anxiety, meaning that they might accept these vegetables more readily in the future. So there's a number of different types of books available, and these are all free. There's 24, and they focus on lots of different types of vegetables. So here's just a few slides from the broccoli one here, but there's ones on aubergine, butternut squash, spinach and sweet potato, for example. And they all show the journey of the vegetable, the whole thing from farm to fork, which is a really important thing to show kids where their food comes from. And they're all accessible free. And you can download this PowerPoint presentation from Food Effective Life, and therefore you'll be able to hit that link and go directly to the page to find out more. But we also know there's more that can be done. So on the Food Effective Life website, we've also got some support for parents and carers. So we've got some practical tips in a nice, simple parent-carer leaflet. And also we've got lots of different activity ideas as well, just to try and encourage children to eat different types of vegetables. And you can see this within our information sheet to help and support. And also we have just more general information around feeding preschool children too, on our main website, nutrition.org.uk. One of the key things, of course, is about tasting different vegetables, and this is a great way to introduce a variety of different things in a real kind of, supportive environment. And usually this is done, outside of usual meal occasions, where they can taste the different food, explore the different flavors and textures, hopefully in a relaxed environment, maybe with other children, if that's possible, and also adults that are encouraging them, because obviously as role models, we have an important role to play too. So you might just do a small selection of vegetables, maybe sort of 3 could work quite well. Cut them into nice small pieces already and maybe present them attractively just to encourage that take up. Let each child take a few samples, perhaps serve them with a spoon, and really try and make it a very grown up experience. It's something different, something new for them to get excited about. The adults then can also model how you taste those vegetables. So looking at it, smelling it, tasting it, and describing what you notice. And of course, we want to try and use really good, positive, descriptive language here. And perhaps you might need to cleanse your palate between each sample. So a little sip of water. And as I said, we need to make sure this is a nice, positive experience, and we're encouraging them to eat it and being enthusiastic and really praising the kids that are willing to try the samples as well. We've got a few resources that might be useful to help kids recall their different tasting experiences. So we've got one called My Food Book, which is a really nice way for them to draw their tasting experiences. And even we've got some nice simple certificates that can be handed out as rewards at the end of the activity. I mean, the resources continue. So we've got lots of different types of activity sheets. So for example, we've got some nice visual kind of worksheets or displays, which is where if they can spot the different types of vegetables within a meal or a dish, which is quite helpful. Perhaps it's like a treasure hunt, a vegetable treasure hunt, and we've just used the letter C for a veggie treasure hunt, but you could use lots of different letters from the alphabet. Another example is which veggie am I? And this is something that the adult would read the card and then with the child match up to the vegetable that they think it better represents. But we've got lots of different ideas, as you can see on the left here. We've got sort of a matching game of a letter and a vegetable, which is quite helpful to build their A to Z and their vocabulary. And we've got a veggie story sheet, even a veggie bingo. So there's hopefully something for everybody there. This continues as well into not just supporting parents, but also early year settings. So here we have lots of resources that can be used quite flexibly in different ways. So whether it's a one-off activity, whether it's a display, whether it's small group work, for example. So we have some A to Z cards, and each card showing a different letter of the alphabet. We didn't quite get X, but we're working on that one. We've also got a worksheet around my favorite vegetable. And this is where pupils or children in school could actually just draw in their favorite vegetable that they've tried or they've eaten. And then each time they have it, maybe over a week or a couple of weeks, they have to tick it and they have to repeat that 3 times. So again, we're encouraging that regular consumption of vegetables as we go through. We've even got things to support literacy and numeracy. So we've got a story called The Lonely Sprout. So we're trying to encourage the lonely sprout, to be more popular through drama and play. We've got What's the Veg worksheet, and this is actually asking the pupils to count how many different types of vegetables they can see. And we've even got a lovely story, which is around the colourful present, which is around our characters, Alicia and Ronnie, have to put together a lovely vegetable basket for their granny. And there's lots of other resources that support that particular story too. Continuing this, we've got things around the world around us. So, for example, exploring where vegetables are purchased. So it might be a supermarket, a farm shop, a greengrocer, maybe online. So lots of different places now. It's a useful starting place to discuss this, and it's a normal everyday thing. And just to make them aware of this part of the process. And they could be used for a great display too. And we've even got a small bit of guidance around maybe growing your own vegetables. This doesn't have to mean a big allotment or a greenhouse, but it could be starting really simply by growing cress, or perhaps even planting potatoes in a bucket. And in fact, we have a story for children called The Bucket Garden, which might be a really useful kind of stimulus to start off growing in your preschool area. Continuing this theme, we even have cards showing the vegetable journey, really from farm to fork. So for example, we have one on carrots, potatoes, and tomatoes. And we also have some resources around the different seasons. And this might be really useful to introducing not just seasons themselves, but also about the seasonality of different vegetables. And these cards also do have some fruit in them too. So quite a good rounded learning experience. But of course, you can also be creative too. So we've got some fun activities about if I were a vegetable, which ask the children to imagine themselves as a vegetable, which could be quite fun and creative. So lots of colouring pens and paints for this one. Or perhaps an old classic, a vegetable fortune teller. And we've got two versions. We've got a blank one where the kids can draw in their own vegetables and different things, and then cut that out and make it into one of those fortune tellers. Or perhaps there's one already complete and they could colour in the different types of vegetables and name them on the fortune teller, and then get creative and then explore and see what their friends' favourite vegetables might be afterwards. And lastly, we've got some other creative stuff. So from a very simple dot to dot, which is quite fun for them to identify the different types of vegetable, colour them in, to name them. And of course, if you want to get cooking and be creative, we've got lots and lots of ideas on Food: A Fact of Life. And we've also got ideas and support about arranging cooking activities with young kids too. So you can explore those out on the website. There's lots of other further support available because we know that encouraging vegetables can be challenging at times. But I hope we've given you some inspiration today just to think about information that you've seen on the See and Eat with those free ebooks that you can download and use, as well as support for parents and carers that you can send home and encourage that uptake, as well as use in your own early years setting. I hope you've enjoyed this quick presentation about how to support young children encouraging their fruit and vegetable uptake. Thanks a lot. For any further information, please go to foodafactoflife.org.uk.